James DeLacy here, back with another breakdown on the Sweet Science of Fighting YouTube channel. So today we're looking at Andre Galvao. He's taking Felipe Pena through a monster strength and conditioning program. So this is obviously out of his garage here. Nice little garage setup, to be honest. Again, as usual, no hate against anyone in those videos. It's just my opinions and everything else on whatever's going on. So I just want to give you an insight into kind of my philosophy on strength conditioning for combat sports, and then kind of break down maybe what they're trying to achieve, among other things. So damn, got some nice cars too. So 15 circuit with 15-second intervals, 5 to 10 seconds rest between exercises. As many times as they can. This is some 50 seconds. Okay. There we go. We're going to go through the exercises now, it looks like.
Alternating pressing here.
So, alternating dumbbell bench. Oh, okay. No different, yep.
For 50 seconds.
For 50 seconds. I thought it was 15. Okay. 50-second. Oh, no, maybe it's 15. Maybe it's just the subtitles. Okay. Burpee box jump or bench jump, if you want to call it that.
It's gonna be pulls for 15 seconds, but it needs to be like really intense.
Okay. Some speed rows.
You're gonna push forward.
Okay. Some standing speed horizontal presses, I guess.
Hold right here.
Isometric hold.
50 seconds. That's the only time, the only set that we're not gonna do repetitions, just like holding.
Okay.
And then we do that like a couple times. So Felipe is gonna stay here for about like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then Jonathan's about like 15 minutes. That's the time.
So wait, that's okay. So that's the circuit. So this is one of those things where let me put it two ways. One, typically, this is one of the reasons why you shouldn't take strength conditioning advice and programs from athletes that aren't coaches. One. Two, okay, let's start with what maybe we're trying to get out of something. Oh my gosh, something like this. So, geez, those are horrible rows too. So on a circuit like this, done for 15 seconds on, 10 seconds off, going through a bunch of different exercises, more of a, I guess you could say, a cardiovascular dominant style circuit. So you're potentially looking at just developing the ability to do work. And I talked about in the previous video, breaking down Michigan football's strength conditioning routine and what we can take from their training. And the main thing we can take away from their training is intent. And that's intent behind the exercises that you're doing to elicit whatever the adaptation is that you want, or whatever the training stimulus is that you want. Now, when you're doing something like this, the intent is low. Nothing is done at speed, nothing is done heavy. So you're missing both ends of the spectrum. You're kind of just rolling through doing random bits of work. I mean, you can do something similar, just literally rolling on the mats if you're going to do something like this, or just doing various drills. When you're in the gym, you either want to develop certain strength qualities, or you want to develop certain speed and power qualities. Unfortunately, a circuit like this does neither of that for you, and it doesn't improve your ability to repeat hard work. And I've talked about this before in previous, I guess, circuit breakdowns, is you want to be able to repeat the ability to do hard efforts repeatedly throughout a match. And exercises like this, which is honestly the dumbest exercise ever, gravity goes down, so you don't do anything pushing a barbell in front of you. But you want to improve the ability to repeat these high intensity periods in a match. And the only way you can do that is either doing high intensity periods within your training with more rest, or high intensity periods in training with less rest, or hitting the very low end and doing lower end work for kind of like, you could call it that base. This kind of circuit training doesn't hit any of the higher ends. You're not getting any higher end work, even with the minimal rest. And you're not getting much at all of lower end work, because you're kind of just repeating and doing work over and over. Now, you can even go even further and talk exercise selection. Typically, you want to improve the working muscle. Oh shit, they're doing like 30 30 minutes of the circuit, these stations over and over again. Okay. But you want to improve this ability. You want to improve these high intensity repeated abilities, and you want to do it typically within the working muscles, because that's going to translate to whatever it is with your sport. So for example, grapplers, you're typically looking at a lot of upper body. Obviously there's a lot of lower body involved, especially with wrestling based rule sets, but say for the upper body, sure, you may want to do high intensity efforts of the upper body. They could be various throws, explosive upper body exercises. It could be high intensity cardio exercises with the upper body, which could be rowing, arm cranking, things like that. Even just fighting over unders is a high intensity upper body conditioning stimulus. Here you're kind of just blending both worlds, right? With a circuit like this, it's seen as strength and conditioning because you're doing conditioning with weights, which is, okay, put it this way, it can be a thing, but it's not really a thing that's going to help you if you're doing it like this. So just bear that in mind. There is an intent involved with training. You're either trying to develop that strength and power, maximal efforts with lots of rest, or near maximal efforts to maximal efforts with less rest, depending on what you're trying to do. So bear that in mind. And if you're doing general strength training to get stronger, you won't be doing circuits. If you're doing training to try and, for example, do your conditioning, typically you're not going to do circuits like this either if you're trying to develop your conditioning. So I mean, some of these circuits do have their place. For example, circuit training does well, for example, at the very beginning of a training cycle. So if you've just finished a tournament, competition, whatever it is, you may do some kind of circuit training kind of on the after that, almost like as a lead-in to your more intense stuff, just for general work capacity, general movement. You don't want to go into your heavy stuff straight away. It also serves, has good value, for example, if you're coming back from injury, just for, again, for general work capacity, because you can get quite a bit of work done with varying movements. It doesn't have to be too heavy. And you get a little bit of cardiovascular stimulus and a little bit of strength stimulus. So it works well in those scenarios. In the scenarios like this, where I don't know if he was, I mean, it's all access. So I'm assuming Felipe Pena here was preparing for a fight, probably with Gordon Ryan at the time. It doesn't make any sense in this context. So hopefully you got something from that. Make sure you check the description. The Sweet Science Fighting Underground is there, but I'll see you in the next video.